Film marketing event. Imagine you have the red carpet. Imagine you have all the paparazzi going, the flash of the cameras. You've got all the security holding back the hordes of the audiences waiting for their superstars to arrive. And imagine the huge cost that goes along with that. I know I'm just about to launch our movie Bad Romance in about 11 days. And the cost of hiring the venue, the cost of all the marketing, the promotion, it's kind of hideous. So tonight we're going to be talking about a way that we can market our films online without having to go to all of this cost. And my very special guest is Gina Gaudio-Graves. She's not only our guest tonight, but she's also a personal friend. And for the last 2 years, she's always also been a coach and a mentor to me, and a very loving and dear one she is too. So without further ado, please let me welcome you to Gina Gaudio-Graves. Good evening, Gina. Yay, good to have you here.
Hello, thank you so much, Tim.
How are you?
Good to be here. I'm good, but cold. I'm in Southwest Florida, and it's not supposed to be this cold at this time of the year.
No, I thought Florida was hot. I thought that's why you lived there.
Yesterday it was in the 90s. Tonight it's in the 40s. Who would have thought that?
Wow. Wow, that's incredible. Well, thank you for coming here tonight. I know it's late for you. It's 11 p.m. where you are right now. And, you know, bedtime is coming soon. So thank you for being here and sharing your secrets with us.
You're very welcome. I took a nap, so I shouldn't fall asleep during the webinar.
and this is totally unscripted, so anything can happen. And as I said, Gina does like to have audiences asking questions, so feel free to jump in at any time. But I thought before we get going, Gina, maybe you could just introduce yourself to the group so they know a little bit about you.
Sure. Well, back in the 90s, I didn't actually start out as somebody who knew they wanted to be an entrepreneur. My passion my entire life has been teaching. So I didn't want to be a poor teacher. Most teachers in the U.S. don't make a whole lot of money. So I'd done the research and learned that the highest paid teachers were law school professors. So I set my sights on becoming a law school professor. And to do that meant that I needed to have several years of being a lawyer before I could actually become a law school professor. And that's how I started my career. 5 or 6 years into being a lawyer, I had just applied to my alma mater, the University of Notre Dame's law school, had gotten accepted and was looking forward to starting to teach in the fall. Well, February of that year, apparently the universe had other plans for me because I got into a very severe car accident that left me in a hospital bed and wheelchair for nearly the next 10 years. Not only did it cut short my career as an attorney, but it totally made me lose any hopes of being a law school professor. So I turned to the internet when, during my illness, I needed more than $40,000 a month in medication to keep me alive. So I kind of got started as an entrepreneur, not because I knew that that was a good thing to do, but because I really didn't have any other way of making the money to pay for that medication. And that really changed everything. Failure was not an option at that point. I had no choice. I had to find something that worked, and I had to find it quickly. Well, I started out owning a membership site in the late 90s, and as my health continued to decline, finally ended up having to sell that site because I just couldn't keep up with the volume and the demand and working with the members any longer. So around 2000, 2001, I opened the doors to what I thought was going to become an internet ad agency. By then, I had learned something about marketing online, had gotten fairly decent at it, so I figured I could offer my services as a consultant to other people. Within a very short period of time, they started asking me for a new kind of traffic that they were calling joint venture traffic. I didn't know what that meant, but I was a lawyer and I knew what joint ventures were. I was a marketer by then. I knew what traffic was, so I decided I'd try and figure out what it meant. And it turned out that what they were really looking for was what is known as a joint venture broker. And what that means is that people who had products and services were essentially looking for people who had websites, traffic, and subscriber lists that could help them sell their products. So I decided I could do that and started offering my services. And that really caused my business to take off in a big way. For about the next 7 years, I was one of the first and most well-known joint venture brokers on the internet. And what really got me the title of JV Queen, which is what people online know me as today, wasn't the fact that I was making these great connections for people. It was really more that I had mastered traffic and conversions to websites and could really help them drive substantial amounts of traffic, oftentimes for practically no cost. Well, fast forward again several years, and in 2005, I had been online then 9 or 10 years. My health continued to decline even more. And it was January of 2005 when my doctors came to me and said, you know, we've tried everything we can, and there's not a lot more we can do. You've got about 12 to 18 months to live. I was only 40 years old at the time, and this was not news that I was expecting by any stretch. So I went home, talked to my husband, thought about what I wanted to do with the short amount of time that I had left, and we decided that we wanted to travel the country before it would be time to go home and die. Over the next couple of weeks, he went out and found a motorhome that he could put my IV poles and my oxygen and my hospital bed into, and within a couple of weeks, we hit the road, expecting we'd be able to go off and see the country for at least a good 8 to 10 months. And during that time, I would continue my business on the road so that I could continue to pay for all of my health care while we were gone. Well, again, the universe had other plans for me. We were only into the trip about 6 months when it turned out that it was my 41st birthday. And that week, we were in Sedona, Arizona, which is kind of a magical place anyway. That week, I had 3 different blood tests drawn at 3 different hospitals that all came back with the exact same test results. All 3 said, this patient is clinically dead. And I share that to give you some perspective on how sick I was at that point. I mean, I was really at death's door. So my husband decided that he wanted me to have the best last birthday that I could. So he took me to see a massage therapist, hoping to just help with the pain for that one day. I got on her table, and she looked at me, and she said, you know, you don't have to die as soon as you think. I kind of chuckled, expecting she was going to try and sell me something, and she really wasn't. So we tried to talk through what she really meant by this, and it turned out that she gave me a piece of advice that has forever changed my life. And what she said was, if I could remove the negativity from my life, I didn't have to die as soon as I thought. And I have to understand, I thought I was the most positive person in the world at that point. So being told to remove the negativity from my life didn't seem like that was going to help me a whole lot. But she went on to explain that it was a lot more than just a positive mental attitude. It was having the absence of negativity in all aspects of my life, from the people that I dealt with, to the things that I did, to the language that I chose. Literally every aspect of my life had to be positive. And I didn't really know a lot about this advice. It sounded like a bunch of hokey pokey to me. So I decided I would go and research it. And over the next 4.5 months, that's exactly what I did. And as I researched and applied everything I learned, I went from a wheelchair to a walker to a cane to walking with no assistance at all. I stopped 42 pills per day, 4 continuous IVs per day. I had been completely bald. My hair came back. And by the end of just 4.5 short months, not only was I no longer dying, I was completely well. And it's with that unique background, that time that I call my miraculous transformation, coupled with my background as a lawyer and my passion for teaching, that I really come to what I'm doing today. After my transformation, I really did look at everything differently, including my business. And what I realized was that while I made a lot of money for my clients and myself, I had paid off $9.9 million worth of medical bills at that point. While I made a lot of money for a lot of people, I really didn't do a lot to make a difference. So I decided to close the doors to the consulting business and go in a new direction, which for me was becoming an educator and a trainer. And today I'm the dean and founder of Directions University, where I help entrepreneurs with 4 things. I help them get direction for both their life and their business. I show them how to give direction to the prospects and customers that they touch. And in the end, I really want to help them impact the direction of the world. And I believe that my mission is to touch every life on this planet, to help every person live the life of their dreams. And the vehicle for doing that is a business that uses the power of the internet. As you know, Tim, there's no way I can touch every person on this planet myself. However, if I can touch entrepreneurs who then go and touch other people, who then go and touch other people, I believe it really is possible to touch every life on this planet in a positive way. And that's how you and I met.
Absolutely. And your story is an amazing story. Maybe one day we should actually make a movie out of it. I think it'd be a great...
You know, that's a darn good idea, Tim.
Absolutely. And, we could touch lots of lives there. An amazing story. And you have touched my life in an awesome way. You through the training that we had over the last 2 years, you absolutely helped me get going with my dream. And my dream since I was 15 years old was to make a movie. And it was only last year that I made my first movie. That's 35 years later. But it was because of your loving care and your constant guidance and sometimes a good kick up the ass that actually got me around to seriously looking at it. And as we went through the process of making the movie, I noticed that not only was I having obstacles creating finance for those movies, but a lot of the friends around me, a lot of my director friends in the independent world were also struggling to make the money that they needed to tell their stories and share their passions. And as much as you want to share your story and passions with the world, I know that the directors around me and myself as well, I want to share my stories. And I think there's a common bond between what you're doing in touching the world and what directors and producers want to do in touching the world as well. So that's really what I wanted to talk.
Agree.
Yeah, we both have awesome stories, and I think we both want to touch the world in different ways. And what's great is that the help that you've given me has allowed me to do things that I wouldn't have done before, and I can touch the world, and you can touch the world through me.
So great, isn't it? Now that's what I call leverage.